ourselves this week at least a test in between so that we don't compromise each other out. Also, we're going to have a situation where it said that if the minister and mayor of the Palestinians and there was no protocol for the COVID-19. This thing is going live and we will show on Facebook and all social media. So everyone has out there is watching us as we speak. So even if they were not watching us, it's imperative that we set all time of protocol. Let me give it over to you.
ngifune nje isifundo esokubhanga sona umsebenzi incwadi ngokubhalwe ngumbhali uMarko chapter 4 sawufunda ka 3 verse 37 to verse 39. uYesu udlulisa ukuphikela
yeka urekhodi
kwabakho ukuphikela olukhulu lomoya ayeke amandla ephosela enkombeni abetha wafuna ukuzala kwangoko wayeke esesiyeni somkhombe elele umthombo phezu komqamelo bamvuze bathi kuye mfundisi akukhathali nasitshabalala nje wavuka wakhalimela umoya wathi kulo ulwandle tala kwabakho ukuzola okukhulu mandithathe kuba uPaul Ngaleka uDephethimisa osoniphekileyo kwameya iministeri yasesikisiki eholisayo Untitled Chapter, World Business Forum, Eastern Cape Business Forum, next level of the Mahimbu about the show, Umkula, SACC, Mahimbu Sena, the Committee of Amen. The Khalila Lamas, we swap contextualize. Swap, c'est le même corps ici qui l'a pour le ici qui l'a pour Ababantu, abasomashishini ngabantu abasebenza from nothing. Bazama ukuba mabekho isonka etafileni ekuphelezwana ngaso. Ngokundiva iziphawu bayakhala bathi kumele awuthathani nasitshabalala nje siyazama from nothing siyazama singenakapitali ukwenza amashishini ukuxhasa kodwa bafuthaniselekile sibona idolophu yaselusikisiki igcwele imikhungu yabantu abangaventiyo abangabhatali tax abangaventisi apha ngezemoko bangakwazi ukuhluma abantu abasebenza kwamashishini basebenza more than 12 hours basebenza every day imithetho yelizwe yakwaLabour ayikholelwe imithetho ekhona ayilunganyelwa ii-products ezithengiswa kwezindawo azihlolwanga azikho mthethweni ukutyala okuthengisayo ngoku iinguba kwiibhizineshela ndiva ngokuliminisa ikhala ithi malumeya ayikhathali nasitshabalala nje ngoba bona balandela yonke imithetho ekhona ngenze loo nto okokuba amashishini abo funeka bewavalile ezilalini eziwe amashishini aqhutywa ngabantu abantu abalama kuba belande imithetho ayashabalala. Isiphakamela kwesinye sithi ngokutumisa mama wethu, mamumea mama wethu awukhathani nasithabalala. Siyakholwa-ke okokuba imithetho sidibene sonke sizawuncedisana kulungiswe imithetho yokwenza idolophu yethu ilawuleke ukuze olu phuhliso lwe-BBT luhambe ngendlela eyiyo. Urhulumente wabona ngurhulumente okhathalayo, ngurhulumente omamelayo, kodwa ufuna abantu badibane bonke bathethe ngazinye benze neziphakamiso basondele kuye bangagibiseli ngabantu bekude. Awukhathali sithabalala nje lilizwi eli-challenge honorable minister, lilizwi eli-challenge honorable mayor wethu elokuba oosomashishini balapha basize apha bezodwa be-BBT, bezodwa ne-West Coast, bezodwa nomzimbulo, bezikuzo zonke izinto makudityanwe kuboniswane kuyo yonke into ezi-LED babe bayiphansi iphaseli yakhe. Xa kunjalo konke kuzawulunga. Xa kunjalo obakho uxolo kuyezi uthi xa eshumayele ebantwini balanda abantu bathi abafundi bakhe bandlule babambe uthi uyezi mna ntoni ezitwayo bathi sinentlango ezimbini nezonto ezitano. Uthi uyezi bahlangiseni phantsi abantu waqhela esihloka wabulela wabanika abadala. Inyaniso into yokuba iSouth Africa icensus ka-2001, icensus ka-2011, icensus ka-2015, it's almost 80% in Christian communities. Inyaniso yokuba i-religious formation inenzima enebanisa lile ukuze kulunge. University yokuqala e-Afrika yenziwe Islamic Faith, University eTimoro, University yesibini e-Afrika yenziwe Islamic Faith e-Egypt, University yesithathu e-Afrika iseSirayoni amaChurch, University yesine e-Afrika yenziwe ngamaDutch ngo-1829 University failure zaba uTheophora. Ngoba kulokhu apho kube khona abantu ngoba i-illegal settlement ngoba i-informal settlement uba abantu bangene ngolwesine ngolwesihlanu ngomgqibelo nangecawa ubona abantu bethethe besiya kwinkonzo abakhonza kuzo. Ithetha ukuthi loo nto umsebenzi wecawa nosenza uba abantu bahlale ngoxolo nangemvisiswano. Lapho ke sizothatha ezitheko bezokosomashishini bakabelusa sizothi sikhona for spiritual upliftment CACC simele transformation. Sizothi sizokhona ukuncedisana ukwenza uphuhliso lube ngokwenza namashishini enwenzayo uthenge kuwo aphumelele. Xa sizawuqala masixhaseni urhulumente okhona, urhulumente wabantu olungwe ngabantu oneenjongo zabantu. Iiprogram zakhe zifike xa sidibene sisebenza sonke. Sizothi ke ndikubuminisa nangosomashishini baseSuid badibene bacela okokuba bancedise urhulumente kuzobazobeka isola etafuleni. Iprosesi xa ufunda incwadi ka-Exodus 32 verse 24 ngokwesibithane ngokwephushente uMoses the only person owaxelelwa nguthixo uba uzawungena ezulwini kodwa uthe akubona abantu uthixo ezobabulala kabonile uthi uDerek Moore xa ibhala ukuba Christians for Human Rights uthi kuMoses waxolela ungangeni ezulwini wathi uthixo khawusixolele isono sawo ungababulali bonke kungenjalo undithumele umfazi oyibambileyo nathi besiyi-religious formation sizothi naba osomashishini basemuva bangoku bacela ukusebenza norhulumente bacela ukusebenzisana bacela ukhuselo bacela inkxaso nathi sikhona sizakwenza njalo inkosi engandiselela amazulu namlaphakathi amen masibhalela amehlo bawokhoyilwele thixo wethu thixo ngcwele thixo olungileyo siyabulela ngesomandla thixo wethu urhulumente okhona intlanganiso yokuqala yokusekwa yakusekela ebandleni yakusekwa zikhona iinkokeli zamabandla nazo zonke ii-stakeholders unguthixo mamelayo sicela ngesomandla xa sidibene apha makuthi uza ohloniphekileyo usekela mphathiswa ubukho bukamama wethu ohloniphekileyo umeya ubukho somandla thixo wethu kulinyulwa wakho utata udr Nonto utata Noxoleka usandwa nazo zonke istakeholders ezikhona thixo wethu bathi xa bephuma apha udede kumnyama kukhanye zithi zonke obstacles ebezikhona ebezihamba bakusomashishini balapha bangakhuli ulwazi oluzofumaneka apho lwenze bakwazi ukuba basebenze babeke isonka etafuleni sikelela ukhamsanelise yonke le ntlanganiso impumelelo ngoKristu Nkosi uMfundisi amen.
Siyabulela kakhulu kahle sibulela ukuba umnyama uthixo azaqalisa abe khona phakathi kwethu ukuze sikwazi basemini sokuxoxa sikwazi uba sizawuxoxa apha siqhubeke endleleni yokuthixo nanjengoba sinethemba kanjalo. Sizongena ke kwiprogram yethu yosuku ndizawuqala mhlawumbi quickly ndiyifunde uba izawuba kanjani. Iprogram yethu yosuku njengoba sesizilelo ngomthandazo utatibulisi umsebenzi osuka kwi-South African Council of Churches sinabantu ababalulekileyo phakathi kwethu nanjengoba wonke umuntu olapha ebalulekile ngokwendawo yakhe. Sizoba ne-introduction ke the organization on the business channel where the person of Mama who's over. One of the leaders of the means your mom was in Bangladesh. But after that, because of that, but the Bakari of the website, that Mama or never to work about the child like okay. So now it's not in what way it's like that, now it's not. Your Bible says on the past year, the hotel of the month. All of the nearly opening the mouth, the chapter of and over. And then we get the presentation from the department, the Department of Conquest, the Ihbc, the Standard Bank, and the board government that can do that bank, and then we have the engagement with those presentations, that is a question and answer session, and then we'll be going for lunch. Now, among us, we will be there. And then, some of the night Saturday, we lunch in there, see not 2 hours now, but to 30 minutes. So that's the thing I was accumulating for some of the people have to still travel after this. So it's on the other the then we have this phase 2 of what from what goes to the solar and from the station or the system of business. We will have phase 3 where we will have the introduction of the guest speaker, and we have the guest speaker, and then we will have the board of things and we will Masih di masa hal waktu di PSB Kementerian itu sudah pembelajaran di
non kata autorisation. Now here, we are this kind of thing. That's not a problem. But I'm not doing it. Quella è la tecnologia che non fa, Ministero del Lavoro. Trasporti un passo parale, l'hotel a queste che non fanno, non andiamo a fare tanto di essere maschile, quello è normale, parale, quello bisogna raccontare nell'aria. Sono di qua, disponibilità e protocollo che aveva quello, ma io sono dice, ma si costruisce, se pensate come a posto, non stava pensando ma che non ha fatto assolutamente, ma lo stesso scopo così. Non voglio lavorare, ma ora conto è quella parte società di orgata parlando di cappelle di compagni in questo senso. Zalo sugo, si aveva il verbo c'è lo pago. Dengan dimakai, putra ai, awal belum berlaku, awal sebab ini buat semua. Let's get to the governor of Maya, who is going to welcome us here. Governor of Maya, who Councillor Pepe, she is. I think a few days old as a honorable mayor. Sunai Mabare, Young Kuman Legati, no. Sunai Mabare Kumana, as a press, Ram Kata la Pulmobare, other Kata of me, who was over a wood. Others Kata, the mother of Kumana, was a press, no from the board. Honorable Mayor, over to you.
Thank you very much for the When you go out to Panya, we try to get you from the Thailand. That one by the money from Korea. In any way, you are not I expect pharmacy and I get information. sonke apha nataphile inendawo engayivafunayo endihaliyuli selonje. Xa silapha we are the servants of the people, sizi-servants zabantu nje kufuneka sithuba singathethi phakathi kwamagama. Kuthiwe xa kubalwa abantu bengahloniphanga babi nathi bangesifona lo. Siyayicela ke loo ndawo. Mandibulise program director, ndibulise umuntu ohloniphekileyo phakathi kwethu as-Deputy Minister, ndibulise isigqeba sonke sengqondwa hill business chamber, ndibulise White Coast Business Forum, ndibulise i-ECP Business Chamber, ndibulise isikhokelo sonke somabhizinisi abakhoyo apha eNgquza. Also ndibulise i-department ezikhona ezize kulo msitho wanamhlanje, iinkoli zonke ezikhoyo, abefundisi abakhoyo, state-owned enterprises nee-implementing agencies zorhulumente ezikhoyo kule ndawo. Ndiyazibulisa ke ngolu suku lwanamhlanje omhla wokuqala kuDisemba ka-2021. Iintsuku ke ezimbalwa ezidlulileyo, esiqala iintsuku eziyi-15 ze-activities ukuba ngohlukunyezo lwamakhosikazi nabantwana. Isaqhuba ke asikayiphi, kodwa ke kubonakale ke kungathi kuyanda kakhulu, ingakumbi ngale amaxesha. Kuba kwakhona nje into eziyimakileyo into ebalulekileyo ukuqinisekisa into yobana sibarepresenta kakuhle abantu, siyathetha ngayo, ingakumbi le nto yohlukunyezo lwamakhosikazi. Kuhle ngathi ke amanani okuba mzulu. Siyalihlaba ke iphelo ootata, ngokootata abantu bakhona abawubusiness abayiyona ndawo yabo kakhulu. Kuhle ke ndibafumene apha, bakuba bahlala apha bakwenza indawo babe baninzi. Makabe basincedise inkululwane nohlukunyezo lwamakhosikazi nabantwana, ngakumbi nangakumbi nabantu abadala abangoomama. Bahlukunyezwa kakhulu, kuyafuneka kwezinye indawo kukhona abathintelwe imizi, abanye bantlonitshwa ngamatye imizi yabo, kwabulawa zifesini zintoni, abanye balalisa. Ingakumbi kule nyanga yokuqathelwa koomama bafihlelele, ayonto yenza kakuhle ke leyo. On behalf ke of abantu baseNgquza abayi-203,000 statistics esigqibele ngazo ukubanazo kule nto yoba kubalwa abantu. Ndiyalibulisa ke nonke, kusandla ke ukuba khona sibatsha siphume ebhokisini beziphelele kungona bezifundiso njengamakhansila aselayo. Kungenzeka ke kwabantu bazizwe ngamanye amaxesha bahambe bekhangela kwezinye indawo. I-first point of call xa usiya kwamasipala ngemini ayidilulu intona kule nto bane sincedisane nasenza sidisiseke ke singayibambi kakuhle. Ayappreciate ubana i-system yalapha eMsisi iyazi lo into yobana i-first point of call officially hayi ezinye indawo. Ezinye indawo fanuba ngabelungileyo ngenxa yokuxakeka abantu athi akhawulidijimele phaya uyongenzela lo msebenzi ukwenzela into yobana uzokwenzelele endleleni. Asikaziwa kakuhle ke babantu ke bandisithi esihlulwa nje kwezipheleleyo kungona sifungayo. Asikaziwa ke sihloniphulo mina ndisirhawulele ke sisazoqala ifundo lethu lokuhamba sizazisa ukwenzela ubana sasazobuya ke sizozazisa ngoba andikhokhelanga ndodwa, ndikhokhele nabanye empilweni nabo bezizwe. So ke kubalulekile abantu bazi abantu abanikhokheleyo ukwenzela uba kube khona i-good recommendation nabantu abanikhokheleyo. Ngokwangoku ke besakuba umcimbi we-industry sifaka abantu bezimini ngoba abanye bathi nabangathi badlala mhlawumbi bengekho nalapha bazaziwa izinto zalapha bemfundela ntona kufuneke ngowafakiwe endlini ukwenzela uba athathe i-baseball abaleki nayo ngoba sifuna abantu ababalekayo abantu abazo-accelerata ne-sensitive. Mina ke ngolivani lapha ngizoncedisana nathi by look of things, understanding irole yenu into yobana nina ningabantu nina enifuna imisebenzi kumasipala nakurhulumente jikelele nakwi-private sector nakinani nibe nifumana umsebenzi enizowenza niwenze ngenyameko kwakuba kulaa xesha lofamile kuthiwe makulokhangelwa ubaze uwave eliveni ufumane nabo izinto eninzi. Uba kubike xa kufikwa kuthiwe benikwenyelo tenda le-5 million kodwa xa ufike egrawundi le-5 million ayiveli. Kubalulekile le uba sithi xa sisenza imisebenzi siyenze noko ishiyeke ukucela ubonakala ikhona indima ebilanjalo. Singabi ngathi umthetho wakhona besolandimali kwamasipala akulandamali kwakuprovayidwa isevisi. Kaloku wathula interested thina njengabantu abathunywe ngabantu ubana xa wenze isevisi nokuba ikhombeke singavele kuthe emva kweveki ezimbini kuthiwa uphelile waloo mgaqo waphile apho uyawubona kusekuyini uthesiya okwenza oversight uyafika phaa kusekho waloo mzuzu ekhomunitia kodwa imali kamasipaliyana kuzonyanzeleka ke ukuba makulandelwe abantu kunezezizabo xa ngakuyisimendibona kufunile onikiwe ufike ungabengayo because ke ngumithetho esingazisayo loo nto into yobana xa uniwe umsebenzi mawube uyejika uyabona uba noko nje wazile imali. Ekugqibeleni ke ebeniyiwe izinto imisebenzi lilindele into yobana kuphucuke uqoqosho lwabantu. Ungumdla omkhulu ke into yobana kuthi njengabantu abathunyweyo makube khona uqoqosho oluphucukileyo ngoba inyaniso yinto yobana isibethile i-COVID mangalana onke yinyaniso leyo akho mntu anokufikisa leyo silimele silimala because asinazo ezinye izinto ezizijolileyo ngaphandle kwale misebenzi. Xa ungekwayo ulimile akusetyenzwa khona ixesha elingangoba sikuleveni banibani akho msebenzi uzokwenziwa. Ikhona imizi evaliweyo ekulalwa ungaziwanga siyarhalela into yobana ingathi isonka esinaso singaqhekezelana naso sonke kungabikho mntu uthile ekubonakala uba nguyena mntu anguwani kwezithenda zakwamasipala nezorhulumente yonke. Make uwani ngenye imini kwengumama le ngenye imini uwani kwenziwa ngenye imini kwenziwa yiyona ndlela ke sokwazi ukuphekezelana ngayo eyo. Kodwa xa sizoba ngathi umntu engekawugqibi nalo umsebenzi loyinikiwe sephinde unika omnye akakawugqibi nalo uphinde unika omnye again i-consent ezabantu abafuna ngabantu uba lo mntu inoba wenza kanjani yena ifweke ngokufanele basenzi oversight ukuqinisekisa uba wonke umntu uyaxhamla kwi-2 nayo inyaniso kwakho mali engakanani kulomasipala wethu. Bendiqheleke phambi ndikhona i-billion of ibudget ndifika ke apha kuthiwa ibudget yakhona yi-572 million. Ndaqoqa uba yeyi ndani imimala ndiphela mali imimanga 572 million ibudget yalo masipala. Isizathu soba sibe nebhajethi engaka yintoni ukuba abantu bekumele bababhatale ingekho abazibhatala. Abantu bekufana babhatale ikukuma ababhatali banezizathu zabo bandifuna ungena kuzo because kodwa ngazifundiswa ukuba kwenzekeni nakazibangabhatala. Abantu kufanele bababhatala all the services abaziwa ngumasipala bafuna ukufumana free. Kanti thina the services that we render sizibhatala imali esizisebenzi asiziprovide free ngathi uba asizinikwa free. If I give you iphepha lokufaka ukuma elaa phepha ndilithenge ngemali. If ndiphuma umuntu omakayolanda lapho ukuma laa mntu ndimthenge ngemali lwazolanda ukuma. Even the truck ethatha ukuma iye ngemali phaya iyahamba kokuthi. And lapho ke impact yayo yintoni? Impact is that igrade lwamasipala ihlala ilow. Igrade lwamasipala xa ilow nemali eyabelwayo ngurhulumente iba low. The more the people pay is the more the grade lwamasipala izonyuka and the more the money esinikwayo ngurhulumente izonyuka. That's the issue. Endibona into yoba mhlawumbi abantu abayazi bayiyona nto isenzahlula yindawo lento yokucingela imali kamasipala umntu angakayigcinekile xa ekhaya angayibhatali kuba ine-impact engakanani. It talks to even issue ekafika ye-employment even kwamasipala ngoba ngoku when I was getting the report from masipala ithi laa nto xa uyiva we are above 52%. Threshold ebefanele basifuna befanele asi-40 thina si-52. That means service delivery ilow yona ngoba kaloku xa ilow xa i-high i-employee cost i-service delivery izaphansi. When iphantsi ke ngoku i-service delivery kuzoba kwezikhalo zoba ufika abantu bemenza kwenzekile bethile eyamanzi asiwafumani ukufika makwenziwo umzako besilindele awenzi. Zezo zinto ozibonayo into yobana mhlawumbi people need to be taught uba how do they affect the service delivery xa bengabhatali. The more ubhatala is the more igrade inyuka is the more ufumana imali ngorhulumente ongasenta because all of the time we live in a different share. I was told in the last financial year, the money that we were supposed to collect is about 200 million from the people. But the money that we got is only 60 million. And we won there's a campaign about that. But I don't know about the money. But there's a campaign about myself who whereas they are expecting service, whereas already our program is abantu abahlala apha and concerned people sizithethe ukwenzela into yobana ekugqibeleni sibe ne-solution on them uba sizokwenza kanjani ukuqinisekisa into yobana siya-improva kule nto yokubhatala because even ngoku xa abantu be-interested imeko yoba umntu esizokhula njani elidlala lakho ukwenzela ukwazi ukubhatala uqini xa sivana but njengokungathi akukho kwakumendayo uba kungenziwane malunga nokubhatala ayibili ke yona challenge efanele uba noko sikwazi uncedisana njengenkokeli ezikolo ukuqinisekisa ukuba siyayitshintsha le mo for the better. Inyaniso ke yinto ethi le program yenu ndithatha as a program kaThumani which is part of the national development plan, which talk to the relation between state-owned enterprises, government agencies, business, and community. The community is in terms of the constitution. If you can understand that we are for a constitutional state, the state are anything is under the constitution. Part of the bank, bekwazi nokulina nakweyini namacala phaya section 152 of the Constitution ukhakamuzwe kakhulu into kanye in all the issues of the country. Nani Germany, even though we elected Kosovo in that time, it is a stronger. All I understand is the community of North, which is critically in Giovanna. Nina is not involved. The issue that we raised here, where the camera is a salam. Giovanna, Asia, the IDP, we started explaining to the IDP. This matter has been very critical about the raise the high. We want to son to resolve because the matter is Unagalan is working areas about the good news about the Apatina. We never can believe that in all what we could get the Apatina in all. By running to Banana, it's never very good. It will bring change to Banana. But in any so in Robana, all population of Malama, either we have in another one, but who pay a while using my all population of Lavana, Malama. Now, your own night is in terms of employment. He got in Yaka about 1,500. But at this point in time, it's taking half of that number. Yeah, we are a poverty-stricken area. Everybody knows okay, they must have we are fighting. What you are and the Amabo was like East Gate. No, Masu is zero. Masu is hard, Robana, Yan, Ukumen, every now, Yasuna, everything about Baban. Obasio that I will go down. As it had a move, you go to the Namaman. Kama ngoba usiye kwezindawo siyelanje ukuply ubasiye sayofuza kodwa sesisazi ngobana ngeke kuvele enye into ukuvele noko ke it's high time ba ezimuli izinto noma zezizale amathokazi namathola kudala sikuba lento yoba silimele kakhulu kuleli kade sakuba kakuhle ku-South Africa ezeholi ezisente kodwa isente inenga lena because abantu balapha xa bethe into bayibamba abaphinde bayiye siyahalela-ke bangingathi ukuvota kwabo ubeliveni bangaboni ngoba ngokwete sigcwaliselwa khonithane ngokudingeizini khange kube lula akhange kube mnandi usitwa kudala nekufika abantu nizinize zeningi ezizinto kudala nithengise inyaniso yobana sinethemba ebalulekisa kumiphathiso othelekileyo kuba eneneni umphathiso wakayeumphati andiphazamnani umphathiso wafaka ngakulongangaphambi ukwenze kukwazi ukuthi abantu abeyiwayo ingabi ngathi awunokwazi kwathi unokwathi lamanzi abeyiwayo asekhona thina siyathanda-ke intobana masiyibone intobana le nto abantu beyikodiyo yivotela iyabonakala ngesithelo ngoba abantu balapha bebayakuthatha inxaxheba bayazisapota futhi izinto eziselukhulwini ingakumbi-ke aphilisa asisabi nayo le nkinga yoba singazifuni sitshele sizilangazelela siqinisekisa into yobana ndiyaqhubeka ngendlela. Ndingabe ndiyaphazama emhlali ngaphambili xa ndingabe ndibale ukuthetha nge-challenges ezikonfrante iimota municipality okanye iimota kwii-community ozikuyo. One of the challenges yile nto elendilishi which we cannot take time as a leadership. Kuba ngabo abanye abantu beyithatha ngokungathile ingabilibazi because we have to deal with le nto yongathi kufuneke ukhomumhlaba xa esithile awusamile. When ke ngokungenamhlaba uziuba namuya, how are you going to develop the people of men? Azithathi kakuhle futhi sivalela nobabani sixolele baba. Baxa abantu bathithele ubani babani kodwa ngexesha lelithatha umhlaba umhlaba wethu ukuba awuthola umhlaba wethu uyaphela kube namaphepha akuvumelayo uba ngumhlabeni njengobe ngumhlabeni uvumelayo usesasa somhlabeni ngokungenaphepha elivunyasayo bayakhe. There is no other way kuzonyanzeleka abantu bathidele kuba abathithile. Ingathi umntu uyayiqalisa avide yena ukwenzela isitena sakhe akwazi ukukhupha kakuhle ahambe usebenzisa endaweni anikwe ngoba uba ngaba ngasithi yena eyakhe isizinto ayithembi. The matter is before the court. Silindele uba masifumane ke i-court yobana masiphithele ongenzi ongakhange usemthethweni. Nanba you are part of that, noko anisisethi kakhulu uba ndingabanani kukhona abantu abangabakule bayiphathi yalo nto. Ngoba xa sithetha nge-service delivery, siyithetha i-service delivery ayihambi ifunekilele phantsi. Xa ilenda phantsi ifunekilele emdlaleni ekuthiwa ngokamasipala ngoba sisikwaphasekwaphathe ezilalini. Sisolo i-service delivery ezilalini sizawungambanga umhlaba ukuthatha ungabantu ngezimali. Ndiyayifakela ke loo nto ukuba masiyazi into yobana umasipala akahlalanga kamnandi. Sesiyifumene ke loo nto ayiteksi yakho abantu baphaya sebeqalile abantu bazinika bona ayiteksi yakho basabile lokubhaliwa ngasibhele baqalile bazi eyalapha ekusifika ikakhulu kuqinisekile kunyanzeleka abantu bafike bangaze bafike bazi asabasebenzi. Critically ke kukhona i-program engaliwazileyo eyayithetha ngokubana makuvulwe again i-college. Enye yezinto engenziwa in the production that we had loo nto iphakathi kwezinto kwakuba kukho ezifundiswa ukubana makufundiswe ngale-connects nokuproseswa kwalizoproseswa kanjani phaya kulandawo. Also kube khona nezinye izikills ezikritikal abantu basesizini. Kuthiwa ke there was a process into eqaliwe kwi-Department of Education by abantu baphethe. We take it from there ngoba yona asizikwazi ukuyiyeka ingalindelangeni. Also we need the support and people that need the help from the stakeholders ukuqinisekisa uba laa nto siyayihambela sisonke because ayilodani kuba ungathi xa uthi ndileya okanye ngumasipala ngumozo endifuna laa nto kufanele uba laa nto ifunu yi-community ofuna ukuthi sithi sindizika because ekugqibeleni thina ngaphela ingathi sithi esinomdla kakhulu ukudlala nani nabantu basebenzi. Kubalulekile ke into yobana masebenzisane kuloo phathi ukuqinisekisa uba iyaphinda iyaphinda izinto inayo abantu asebenza in terms of the office. Iyakubalela ukuba lelo location ekumele yenziwe ngaba abantu ethi nayo kubantu basebenza ukuthi uhambe lwekundawo lukhona akasincedise siyaziphalele za-ofisi lethunawo kuthiwa yi-one stop solution yonke i-department kahulumeni ikhaya ngokulelify address thina in terms of capacity nokuninzi babantu apha singayibana ngeke ikweyana nangowe-ofisi ezanzayikholegi iyakuxelela into yoba kufanele ibe khona laa nto ibe ligama lesingisi kodwa yi-one stop ene-ofisi zonke zakurhulumente apho zothululela khona abantu ngoba kunzima uba sibathululeli phantsi ngoba kuzohamba uhambe kunyanzeleke uba siyavumelana sibathululeli phantsi emaziplans emindaweni ngoba at the moment ngoku uyayibona uba ayikho rayithi laa nto laa arrangement yoba kukho abanye abahleli apha edolophini bane-ofisi apha edolophini kukho abanye abasekholeji sezwazanele ukubhalelwa impeyi kumele uqale ekholeji balifike ekholeji kuthiwe hayi lale emva kwasifaka balifike emva kwasifaka kuthiwe phinde ekholeji kanti if you have got one stop ye-department zonke loo nto ingenza kube lula into yobana abantu basemumva basebenzisele siyayikhalela into elolo hlobo apha phambi kwesele zinintsani zakhe zivuwe yena njama ithethande i-budget ukwenza bakufikisa it may not take one day but inyaniso yokubana abantu bakuwe kwezizibantu kuncedisana nabantu ebasithi iinkonzo zisondele ebantwini izenze zisondele nangakumbi ke umuntu bayezophuma kweofisambili yamele kuzo ezininzi. Also, we have challenge in Japan. Because at the end of the day, you start your own Bapak ni nak kembali ini misalnya bukan penyalaan, boleh nak ini. Ibu nak ini, yang paling itu mana rokok dan makan makan ini bani dia ini pun nak ada pastinya bisa kan? Si mama pusat, apa itu bisa apa? Also in our district, we are now two Ayah bela, abantu baninzi bantu bayaphela kuba yayibona kudala baphile yaphela yona yona ibapheli sihamba phambili siyile ndawo yasekwatshana kule nto yoba singenzi kakuhle kule nto yokuziphatha kule nto zantlala Also, we're talking of ocean economy, how that is doing. We have started something in sabathengela ii-containers abantu abaphaya ngasemalwandle. They are called operatives ezipha ngasemalwandle esizithengele ii-containers sabanika ne-fishing gear and everything. Bebetete lobani ntonazi ngiwangafundishe iyabonakala ke into yobana that thing is not commercial yet. Into yobana nje umuntu mabaphile futhi siyayikalela ke into yoba masisebenziseke njengabantu esebeqalile sinamalwandle amaningi ke apha uba ndingabala ndingaphela endlini I think about 5 amalwandle esinawo ulwimi lukhamba kwezindawo ezizamile ukuncedisa kuzo kwa-25 kwa-23 kwa-24 isenzela le uba mawube khona umsebenzi wenziwayo uncedisana ke nalento ye-DDM because we have understood then wena ukuthi le-DDM njengawayilonsa umongameli wayeka yakiye into yobana akukho mali zisuka phambili zithiwa izokwenza zazalwa ngezamiliyoni kodwa kho mali zisuka pha imali le ekwi-department enye seyikuzo already enye isazoya kwi-department imali into yilena ke kuthiwa ke ngoku ijongene nalezithiwe hence isinenzi esizibhalileyo uyabhalela kuncediseka ukwenzeka noko kubonakale kukhona indima esiyidlalayo changing the life of the people. Inyaniso ke le ethi singumasipala bese ndidezile ukubana asithathi ibhajethi sezantsi kodwa we are prepared to service the people. Le nto basengamakhansila it's not about us, it's about the people. Ngoba besizawuya sonke phaya ikona yokufana babathule baye phaya kwamasipala bayokhokela abantu bayovula iminyango ukwenzela iminyango baseyivulile umntu abe ngaphakathi besingavuya sonke ke phaya siyoba ngamakhansila sonke but abantu baye basithemba uba sizokwazi ukuyenza le nto abayifunayo leyo kutshintsha bomi babo yindla wethu besekela mkhathi ubana masikutshintshe ubomi babantu asikutshintsha sisodwa ke sokutshintsha sihamba nani nisincedisa uya phambili kutsho kutshintshe ubomi babantu. I also ke ndinawudla kakhulu kule nto yobana abantu abafuna ukunvesta in the area bangabethelwa amagusha base indawo nokusibambele kwenzeka kukutshintsha ubomi babo urhulumente lezibalifa imali inganani. Surely we depend on investors ukuze sikwazi ukulungisa le ndawo yasemuva siyenze imfanele ezinye indawo. Ngaloo mazwi ke mhlali ngaphambili mna nomdla kakhulu ukusebenzisana nani going forward ukuqinisekisa uba we change the lives of the people singabinayo enye i-agenda engaphandle kokutshintsha babantu. Mina ndikutshintsha ngoba ndiprovide service, mina ndikutshintsha ngobana ndibhatalela the service that ngaloo mazwi kusakhulu emhlali ngaphambili ndiyamkeleka noko.
Nothing now. If by right, it's about right. Switch sticker and do now.
kuyaba ukuthi kodwa umuntu ayilobana nathi yesenayo ningasinikana so it's a two-way before we proceed to chapter 6 we're not doing well so I think after
这个你 switch it off 或者压实线的 no แต่ว่าทำไมเราเป็นเราเราสิ capture ใช้好酷的เรา不管你说的什么是他们不要
also I want to acknowledge the presence of our energized, our founder, abantu abayibala yobane ayiye kanseze mlungile bayibala yayiyempilo namhlanje basiza basina semandleni manje siyazi esimane sokubona ukuthi basinike ikhuthazo abasebenzi kwami njengosebenzi
Mama kasini athethe ngayo Mike.
Masipala uma wankulu makeze phethi imowa yodwa zonke izikhomo
wayihlala uxelelwe ukuba azayikhupushe kuvele la adlala kwigama ukushadela ngeniso yevela ladala yilo inguqo litshalayo uya wayitshala lo mbongapha ekofuma hayi ayaphuma lapho ngoba lokuvelisa amahungu wabiza omnye wefaki makafaki igoma wayifaki igoma wathikathika ifetelayizi akhambi ume imvelise amahungu walaqala wancama wayilahla uthe seleyilahlile-ke iphose ngifesini uyabalisa-ke uthi ndithe ngiphose ngifesini balisota ngiyilahlile wathi ebonile umuntu lapha wathi omnye hayi awuyilahlile iyazithumela uzujonge emva kwexesha manje ukuthi amazwi azakula isikulahle kuyo uzobona hayi-ke kukholo waqalela unkosikazi ukuthi amazwi angu aphiva abhalelele enkosikazi ngoba sithi amazwi kuloo ndawo hayi lambi ixesha azange ishume nokuhluma wabiza lo mntu wathi ngenzile mfundisi ngilahlile ngagayela amazwi ayishumi le nto wayezomfundisa zakhe waya xa efika ufika amanzi eqwengile imvelise amampondo imfila apha phezulu azange thela ukuthi le mveliso yamampondo ingase i-infection zayo zibese mampondweni nawuphoxela mphathiso okanye zibewo indawo imishini yenu ayuduma ifane naleya ewe apha kule business senza yonkinto akho nto singayenziyo sinaye nosaplayi inzima siyasaplaya challenge ebesinayo ngexesha le-COVID ukuba umzi wamampondo ungabonelwa lobona unganikwa ungavulelwa ithuba lokokuba usaplaye saye saba nesikhalo esikhulu singumzi wamampondo angangokuba abanye onobhizinesi zange babe sakholelwa kule mozaikile business chain balinga okokuba siyekelele ngokunokwethu kodwa izinto zazingaphaya kwamandla mama umeya singaba nobhizinesi basenyuza akukho nto singayenziyo siyacela ukuba ziwazizise okokuba abantu xa besiza lapha xa kukhona into ekhoyo evuka akhona onobhizinesi abanobhizinesi akukho nto bangakwaziyo ukuyenza nobinakani nathi siyafana nabanye abantu siyafana nonobhizinesi baserhawutini senza yonke into ekhona senza yonke into ekhona we do all business activities directed towards the satisfaction of our needs and accumulation of wealth then lapho bonke onobhizinesi abakhoyo ingxaki thina amampondo sijongelwa phansi ukuba uke wayethi ukuba enyuza baza kujongela phansi ndifuna ukuqinisekisa mama umeya ongenayo ukuba osandingena kwesifunda siyakwamkela singena kuba uze nawe uze usazi ukuba eflexazinelisisi bakhona onobhizinesi abakukhoyo abangenoyenza apho siye kube nzima khona kuye kuthi nokuba mhlawumbi uyicingile into uma uyenze kodwa ungakwazi yiyo loo nto sicela urhulumente ke ngoku asincede i-access to funding, i-exposure to business opportunities, i-training and development, i-address of unemployment and other social services, inclusivity of youth and women empowerment in business-related programs. Sicela urhulumente asincede sinako ukwenza kodwa amandla asinawo wokwenza ngoba singenazo i-resources limited asikwazi ungathi xa ungapha emphakathi uhamba usisa ngapha ngaselambisi ubone umhlaba
i-skills ukuze babuye obantwana beze apha emuva bezokwenza into abayifunde ngase-China nase-Italy phambi kokuba ningenise ama-Italy nama-China futhi nawo xa engenile loo ma-Italy nama-China makaphinde athengise i-shares apha futhi singonobhizinesi basemuva siyazi uba xa ifikile lapha yase-China thina bonobhizinesi basemuva nathi sine-shares kuze sifumane i-ownership nathi sizive sikhula ngakumbi singonobhizinesi basemuva. Okokugqibela ke ngokuhlala phansi sinazo i-future plans esinazo unyaka ozayo sinelali bakhanyayo naselambasi zilali ezo ezikule ndawo kanye ine-development yasandraka ezalali khona abantwana khona i-youth khaya engasebenziyo engazi noba iziqalaphi na ayaziyo sinqwenela ukuthi aba bantwana nabo babe bayabonelelwa engoku thina siyi-business chamber noba ukhulu laa msebenzi ubonelela abantwana into esizawenza next year sizozama ukubaguruma abantwana sibaintrodusa kwi-business world sibafundisa uJanuwari bazoba ngathi baseklasini sibafundisa nje just i-idea bafumane i-knowledge ye-business sibeka phambili ukuba ikuyona nto ibalulekileyo kwi-business is the recording of all financial transactions in methodical order bayazi loo nto leyo bengekangeni kwi-business unyaka yonke kaJanuwari babe befunda bayazi xa ufumene into ufake i-cost income ujonge i-gross profit margin ethile ukuze yonke laa nto bandizukwaziqalisa ngoku kodwa sinaloo mntu uba siza kumentorisha abaya abantwana bezandawo next year ngoJanuwari ukuze kwezaa ndawo uphume koonobhizinesi noba benza ibhizinesi encinci akunyanzelekanga uqala ibhizinesi avule ibhizinesi enkulu uyaqala ngothenga ibhokisi yama-apile bakwazi ukuthatha ibhokisi yama-apile bayothengisa ebridjini bethengisela abantu abasebenzayo ibe kukuqala kwabo ibhizinesi oko ukuba abantwana baya-understanda indlela ekwenziwa ngayo kwibhizinesi ngabantwana abo esingathi thina siyilenguza kwibhizinesi enu sibabonelele mhlawumbi ngemadlanyana ezilapha ko-1,000 rand ezazithatha thina kanene because thina siyi-non-profit organization nje sizawuhamba thina siyocela bakhona ii-giants zakwabhizinesi apha akapha phezulu kodwa tinotshweleka asiphe noba yi-1,000 rand sihambe siyocela kodr Nonso ii-giants ze-chamber siyocela ukubona ngabantwana babo emaphepheni ekwibhizinesi esi-invayitha abantwana kodr Nonso sithi mabazomotiveyitha abantwana bethu sithi sicela nje loo nto unayo asiphe i-1,000 rand udr Nonso asiphe 1,000 rand utatotshweleka nomnye basomabhizinesi kuze sithathe ezo mali sinike aba bantwana sithi thatha nathi 500 rand uhambe uthenge ama-apile oko kukuqala kwakho ibhizinesi kwezi ndawo njefanimina kwinina kwiindawo ze-development yenzani into noba incinci izawukhula asingabo bonke oonobhizinesi abamileyo kwibhizinesi ngoba befumene ifandile abanye oonobhizinesi abaninzi baqala ngento encinci abanye ke oonobhizinesi baqale ngemali mboleko xa ungekanomncinci ongekabi nayo nebhanki kuye kube nzima ngathi uba uqale ngothengisa la ma-apile uye usiya uzoke uye ubhankisha emveni ukuze ithi ibhanki nayo xa ithi kwi-bank statement yale bhizinesi yakho kube siyabulela kakhulu inkosi yami ingalibazanga ixesha sikhosele endlini. Enkosi.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Now that there are opportunities in our backyard, our people must be supported to get these missionaries to Babawa, to support
is sine regions across the province, but basically sufumana umnyango uzofika apha because ilusikisiki ne-Flagstaff ingoza it's under our time. Manje siphela phaya eThatha uyoqonda xa ujonga audience lena unqabile ukuva kusitoko khona abantu basuka ncakasana apha ekhaya. So this opportunity ke noko isivisa kamnandi nomphathiswa wami ungwalapha eBizana utata ungutyana ubona la kumathisa no-head of department ungwalapha eNtabamkhulu ngabalapha bonke kunezinto ezininzi ukuba asithi sikwazi ukufika, but xa kukhona izinto where we can come and present and assist, because my office in Department of Compliance Management thina ke sijonge izinto ze-compliance. Xa ufaka ithenda ukuba ihambe kakuhle ihambanga kakuhle ijonga sithi sometimes xa ujonga i-stats usenza analysis ukhangela ukuba babethwa yintoni abantu bakuthi ukuze iithenda zabo zingabikho responsive, ngamanye amagama zingadluleli zide zo-award. What is it mhlawumbe ebabethayo? Zizinto zakwa-compliance kubuninzi bamaxesha. But umuntu will spend a lot of time completing the document, but I understand uba imele uba inenjani ukuze be right. So i-invitation is masithethe ezinto ze-compliance and also the opportunities that the department has. So I will try to limit kwezo ndawo zombini as per my invitation. Phaya emsebenzini esebeni, all quotations exceeding 30,000 sisifaka website so that everybody ayibone, adownload document, afake amaxesha amaninzi, unless sizosebenzisa i-database eclose like ICTP, because a certain percentage ye-budget yethu izoba dishana mhlawumbe no-ICTP, the contracts with database as a part of the program yokusikhulisa like aba-ICTP. Generally, everybody's got the same opportunity because we put on the website, abantu sikhuthaza uba ba-download, ba-comply. Now, before I get there, the opportunity Mayor wami okuhloniphekayo mnqande lo mkhwa wamagosa asemrhulumenteni athi xa ebona ithenda yakho ingathi iza kakuhle akubambe efonini athi into zakho ziyalunga ungandiniki i-X amount izawupasa ilapha ngoku. Ayikho loo nto. Abantu abanalo mkhuba wokunibamba emacaleni benithembisa ngoba izinto zenu zixhomeke kubo, ayikho loo nto. Siyawugatya lo mkhuba sithi masingawenzi because kukhona ikomiti ye-specification committee e-design document ebekiweyo, kukhona i-evaluation committee yamagosa amahlanu asuka kwi-programs different e-evaluator itender, kukhona i-adjudication committee e-independent nayo eyenziwa ngamagosa e-top management asuka different programs e-evaluator e-adjudicator i-quotation wayithenda yakho. Noba ngubani othi ingathi ungalunga lo mcimbi kodwa qala ukhuphe imali ethile, lowo muntu umreport ucorrupt. Zininzi izinto esizifumanayo xa sowulandelela umvamo wenza uphando asuke nobhizinesi abuye umva athi hayi nje ukubani sofumana umsebenzi. Ayikho loo nto. Ngamagosa nje a-corrupt ekumele siqiniseke uba ayo part of the system because abangobantu bancedisana norhulumente okhoyo. Sibathatha njengoba zibhoja nje, xa sithe samfumana siyamkhupha esystemini. The matter will be investigated. There are 3 different programs phaya emsebenzini ezikhoyo xa ukhona imethe eripotiweyo zi-investigate zikhuphe report with clear recommendations. So ininzi ke le nto nesikeme ezenziwayo kuthatha i-closing register nje besifaka website sipublish uba nabo into beyi-lowest ufube khona abantu abanifowunelayo sanungena kulo ngibe report those people. I-office ka-MEC ivulekile, i-office ka-HOD ivulekile, i-office yami ivulekile, i-office ka-risk management ivulekile iminyaka. Masize ngaphambili nabe ubala lixele igama lana ngifuna ngayo thumela yona usinike incwadi siwahamba siphande silandelele. Baninzi abantu imihla nezolo amagosi asuspendwayo but abantu basiyeke izinto. Benzima ndidlule apho program director because ixhaphakile lento lomkhulu. Now xa uphuma itenda in a bid condition iba ne-advert ibe ne-closing time siyayazi isilonto kodwa into esiyijongayo xa si-analyze ukuba abantu bakhutshwa yintoni. What are the reasons that make your businesses zibe non-responsive? Ngamagama si-eliminate either first phase or second phase depending on the phases ze-tender leyo. I-analysis yethu sibonisa ukuthi mhlawumbi i-document siyicomplete ngokuphela de silibale ukufunda njengephaya khona imibuzo ebuzwayo. If you check u-SBD 1 the invitation to bid unophathi A nophathi B. Uphathi A ubuza iinkcukacha zakho, then uphathi B phaya kugqibela unendawo ekusayinwa kuyo, unendawo efuna i-capacity yalo muntu official document. Abantu abaninzi basayina ibe isithi bid condition SBD 1 must be duly completed. Umuntu avele asayine kanye angashiba ngubani ungayazi ngoba the official of the company okanye yakhe ngane document. Abanye baconverta i-document njengoba sizitshintshile sazenza ku-PDF. I convert because ne-system ne-Microsoft system yokuyi-converter ayenze electronically, which there is no problem, but xa sijonga sisi-evaluate ezakhona nje sizifakile zitshintshiwe njengokuthiwa SBD 1 must be completed umuntu must so that ezobe complete mhlawumbe i-challenge athi yami document kungekho nje. What we do, we take the original document that was published on website and compare with yours. Uphala umuntu unezinto azitshintshileyo to suit yena yet i-conditions ekuzoyivaluate ngazo zimile. So we are saying if you convert your document, don't amend anything, please. Because the evaluation committee will look at that and your bid, should it be found that we have amended the document, will be eliminated. Sign your SBD 1, indicate who are completing the document, put the date. SBD 4, une questions as uzayo phayana. Abantu bavele but no, uyophuma ezantsi, assign. There are questions ezibuzwayo specific. I want to draw your attention to question 2.8 no 2.11 because this one kanye abantu abangavele bangazihoyi yet as a question specific. For instance, 2.8 is asking about ukuthi ubuke wafumana umsebenzi in the past 12 months. Athi umuntu no. You go to contract ratio from kudala wini uthe no yena. You don't lose anything by declaring that yes I did in various departments, for instance, and say yes various departments or municipalities or wherever you get the job. Don't say no, because we've got records. 2.11 is asking Ukuba, do you have interest in any business, whether tendering here or not? Abantu athi no. You go to CSD as the system, the treasury, phayana uyavela xa unanye business uyidirector kuyo. Uthe no. Print CSD and check all you are involved in other companies. Nazi triple number zakho. Ngakho uthe no. You eliminate because you are not declaring truthfully. That SBT4 in the end, it says the information that you declare is true, and the department, not just us, all departments, should it be found out that it's not true, your bid will be rejected. Utum to know. Now the question is, can I be a director of Manolo company, but I don't know I'm also a director on another company, whether bidding or not? Because it's not about whether bidding here. Government wants to know about, do you have interest in other business? Declare yes, and say, refer to CSD, or write the companies, or attach the list. Don't say no, because if you are in business and it's registered on CSD, the system picks up itself automatically. bantu bakhutshwa zezo zinto. If I were to give stats, mhlawumbe workshop, this company X have tried to tender in the past 12 months. None numbers stabilize bids. But this 2.11 amphendulayo uthi no, every time we are declaring correct. Therefore, you are singakuthemba njani uba uzoyakha le ndlela xa ungakwazi ukudeclare uba unayo interest somewhere. Now, please, colleagues, let's try to declare correct. There is nothing as a by saying yes and say company X or refer to system or attach a list if it's an incident. You will never be penalized whatsoever. Government can never do that. If you are penalized by declaring, lay a complaint, you will investigate. And if the committee made incorrect award, there will be consequences. Now, any industry appeal, each tender, even a list of the tenders for one. Which chairperson spoke about this security, for instance. If you will look at our bids, JS Infrastructure Department, Central Goods and Services of Infrastructure, if the mutual tenders to provide testimonial, young citizens who go somewhere. That testimonial, in the criteria is our sure if it's description, if we amount of incidents, if we the contact person, one and out, you reference your corner, issue a provider in Jamaica testimony as this flying. Upon to provide your appointment letters as a testimonial. Appointment letter is not a testimonial. You may be appointed to provide a service, but you do it at a stage. Make sure you read the condition. When you ask the employer or guide to make you be attended, you can tender is a if you not even this description period, get a contract, what is our short term, not less than 24 months. If you submit about 6 months or by 4, you get 6 months after the company, 6 months final, make sure those things are there as well. Recently, we were evaluating the project in our friends. If I'm not born up, I don't know. It's testimony, I just a case at the end. Who find in a higher information. In our now, 25029, 253. But testimony has a case at the end. We pick up the phone and verify that people are CC. Now, don't put it on that correct, the truthful, every information. If the testimony says that one of $4 don't have to must follow to the business school. Obviously, they try to be creative and manipulate the processes. We are saying, no, our business, who does it, what was the house that was young? Oh, your property, there, give me a movie, go for the fire, give me a movie. And so as you take the high band to women. There's that woman for another yard, or to put free 10. So we are saying, please, my son, that's but I will evaluate as validating because the employer reserved the right to verify that information. That you said when I'm going you're authentic. Now, any individual about who need a effect. Most there are advantages of becoming a vendor, there are also disadvantages, vice versa. A band who's a white friend, and I find it. Only one white friend, and I have that friend, I find it. If you look at what documents, what is this 2.1? We are indicating what is that vendor? Who is that 50% plus 5%? About the vice versa. We are saying, colleagues, please comply. If a vendor, put it there is no harm. But if you don't, because part of who's I want to be the lowest, was for us to look. Now, no obligation was with that vendor to include in your offer a vet. It's a second requirement. Or once you know a vet, you to decide who la and who target it. Because the conditions is clear, you are complying. Now, just yesterday, I was afraid my job is when you come inside. Who quick up your CID, your CID must remain active throughout the hours. This company X, if I decide to be a or verify, but inactive 2019. Often said to you, because that's a job. About Pachama creates businesses forgetting that to verify the information at a stage, at evaluation stage, at a stage. If your company is not active, go SIGP, come and go from SIGP and make sure your matters are compliant so that you stand a good chance to win. Don't try to go, they're going to SIGP by KKL, they're going to cut you or put lines just as a you look at that and say, don't you do business for it? So I'm trying to say, in as much as I'm going to sit calling hard, but it also appears for joint analysis, but even on the other side, but call now another son against this. Hence, the class of is really not what the farmer will get. I noted them. When I was in cluster offices when 5 departments are together. I've noted that. I know recent like where you are housing 5 key departments. Now, connected the Premier also a Dishana department in the cluster offices. Is going to house key 5 departments together. I will raise this with the head of properties, but I don't see this when I happen to say, Sikon is carried city. No one my job, but no one I don't mind. Yokoba, the cluster office so that Yan up, Jones College, Gap, not only land, can like just in the 11th December in Wab. We are Gapa for the death certificate. Who for something else? So I took notes, I will raise this to the head of properties at the office of the HOT so that he will pago Abazal John. Now, we call them our local content production. Colleagues from the here. Yes, this is but that's John, the analysis here, but because we are already diagnosed by that's my problem, general to complete into a local content and local production and content. All our tenant documents, where we know there will be designated items, so it's including the example, assessment. So I'm advising you when you complete a bid document where there is local content, take that exam print and put one side and compare. It's a guide. We did that thing for you. But all John is number when we say no example or complete, so it's like over for just example. About so the guide is already take that example, check and compare and fill it. You will never go wrong. But I think as a result, when we complete the documents, we don't read and make sure that you invest time. Some colleagues are completely to get pencils. But I document in my boss, I will buy a pencil. Or if I have information, you sell a pencil about which you have a finish after a year. As it documentation, I would go evaluate that pencil by the guy, say to make it. So this is just really, but it's the better in the end. Now, we're going to be so affidavit about the time I was complete. Again, I'm so happy that it is here. If you check the big documents, so to my past, so affidavit is in obviously, only certificate or written was so affidavit. Abanya band the banzayo. Would tell us on affidavit at crossover, not applicable. I can report some for go to not applicable. Only I complete. But let's son affidavit. Obviously, if your turnover is below 10 million, up by the financial year, it must land on you must use the available financial statements. That means if it's below nyak, no 2021, I pay. Financial year ends here. up by December 2021. How do you know your turnover is not 10 million? You say current financial year. Because you should be basing on the latest available. The explanation that you use the previous financial year, if indeed your turnover was less than 10 million to claim level 1. So, Johannes has said, because in 2022, in 2022, you lose your points because, of course, that's one affidavit. You are under oath, Muspan, before a commissioner, whether it's a policeman, or whatever the commissioner is. Next year, always 10 million. We want previous financial statements as the last year. Then, of course, if you are not yet audited, like your financial year has just ended, so you don't know because your auditor is still based, you can use that year. Then don't use current and future financial year when you complete that. Because that's what people are doing and they lose points. But who lowest the price? Had this sort of affidavit be valid and complying, there's a money sponsor win. What do we mean? Idea purpose, direct, but the signature is now the question is, how can I, if I'm working for you, Mr. Tomo, for instance, to idea to commissioner, not the idea to commissioner on your behalf, we know Muslim commission. This doesn't mean it's like a Thailand. As a department before the policeman. This side police are signed up. Or I'm signing a young police who claim points. You lose your points because this central value is invalid. Oh, you're touching the way copy. I'm going to copy on an offer of which are highly valid for 12 months. Now, it's a copy of a copy. If you look at the conditions, it says it must be a valid original sworn affidavit or certificate, certified by commissioner of oath, not a copy of a copy. Then you lose points so carelessly because now, so the best thing for those who are in goods and services and share, you spoke about it as a catering. Colleagues, what we observe, that's a document. With SBT 3.1, only items, lunch, dinner, breakfast, bottle of water, available like last week, at 450 lunch, at all inclusive. Treasury requires us to make sure that the items we quote is conversion price index. Why don't I have lunch at 450? 450 lunch. Because going to compute everything, la form, in a breakdown, follow it, don't say inclusive, because as this was, cluster price index, up evaluation, comparison, okay, in dinner, 180 for instance, in bottle of water, 20 rand, in lunch, 150, to make la 451. Now, next crackers gas, Innova, we don't have that time. Price index is clear, NAS items is just zero, where now we have to take that and then put them a cup. There's nothing wrong. So don't come with the never are latest available to comply. Because by the guide, what are the big conditions? What is expected of you at each phase? Inclusive. This is but we price and we are required to report on monthly basis on LED and also as items. Even as a local content, we must report what the on as and when it's award. So as Izinto, because I don't want to delay the program, but in conclusion, if you know you've complied with the conditions, but you're not awarded, please inquire. Ask the reasons. What caused me to win that tender or the quotation? We are required by law to give feedback. There is nothing wrong if you ask the reasons, so that if one wrong we can take a note that way lento, so that next time you do it better. Of course, don't call people Matani, send an email, inquire that up. I've quoted on the contender who's the bid number yayo SMU 5 or quotation number, and I know I was the lowest, or can you give me feedback? What caused me Dingawi? Then we look at the reasons so that we improve next time. Ungahlali kanti wenza wrong ka usazi. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sozome, we need really a day just for you to come and workshop our people. Because really, as is in job, I'm one of the victims that not sure as a classmate now let us think no. I tell you, MPT in the Hamas, which one no. I never read the one of which one no in and you ask the answer no. Who's going to tell us? He has the answer no. In saying about the corner as your indication. No, we answer. I ain't trying to not. No, your side is not. Boba Silva training, who 70 event training, who telling who sitting no. Tell me what you want, you can have man. What you want, because really that's what they are asking. Time is on next of the arcade, where I am. I agree there. What when you are going to die? So really, these are eye openers, Mr. Sobomi. We really will take them for granted. We appreciate this kind of information. You know, it's a tendency to go to over 2 years, 3 years. We figure out connectors in January. We ask about LBTS Mazio. But the reality is that these are experts. They know what's better. So it's important that say equip and get this information. Thank you very much, Mr. Lumega. We are preparing for CITB. Mr. Hussein is here. Deputy Minister, it was unintentional. Indobana. Almost all my speakers are coming from this region. Yes, this is upset. Yes, Deputy Minister. You know, Dr. Nonto. So now I want to now, this Tatia I'm going to get figure out about good and for the Deputy Minister and other cases then among us. What took our umpa and Shah and I was a case of them. And mine is about how to born. Actually, how? So it has always been the mentality of our own. As long as I will get power and it's only phone. It's a high for Abba from now and to go. Obamayo, what about the jump of one now? What do you, Mr. Say?
Thank you, Program Director. Let me first greet the Honorable Minister, our new Mayor, Abafundisi and Victor Abafona, traditional leadership, the business sector, ladies and gentlemen. When I was told to come here, was I've not been home for quite some time. Come by so much like they can. We're going to follow the law. It's a short ride. Flagstaff Square. Oh, Galan, we border. So it was important that you could take that one. So thank you, Musagi, Business Chamber, for inviting me. I will try and be quick on my presentation. I'll touch very briefly on a lot of things. I know that most of you know CIDB as that entity that downgrades, that registers companies, and so on. What I would like to also touch on before going through the presentation, I heard the mentioning of Ihbc, Iron, Iron and Ocholega was one of the persons who assisted the construction sector when CIDB was famous for downgrading. They locked us up in East London. I'm not saying that locked people up, but it worked because since then we took a resolution not to downgrade contractors anymore. So since 2016, is no longer deregistering contractors, no longer downgrading contractors. So if you have a grade 7, you have a grade 7 for life. You can even leave it to your kids as long as you still pay your taxes. Because we are now sitting with the challenge of contractors not renewing their status. I think there's about 17 grade 9 contractors in the country who decided not to renew. So they are sitting there. Some of them owe taxes, some of them for reasons that relates to COVID, they've decided not to be part of the construction sector. In any event, CIDB, as you all know, it's a Schedule 3A entity of the National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. We report to the minister, to the board that is appointed by the minister. As early as last week, a new board was appointed at CIDB, so we'll have another board that will be at the CIDB. For the purposes of today, I'll talk mostly on contractor development. And some of the issues that I might touch on, you may feel that they are sitting maybe on the client side or the employer, but they are not. As the private sector, you have the same responsibility as the employer to ensure that there is development of the sector. Maybe to start with, if we look at procurement, because that's where battles start, we must understand that there's a primary objective of procurement, which is to obtain goods and services for the client. And on your side as the contractor, we expect you that those projects which have been procured from you must be delivered on time, within budget, defect-free, and in a manner that will excite the person who has appointed you. Starting from this year, we started on the 1st of April, just that clients are not reporting as much as we want them. We are now enforcing clients to report on all completed projects. They must tell us how much was the project value at the time of going on tender. How much were the contractor appointed for? Were there any variation orders? Did the contractor complete the project on time? Was it of the quality that the client required? That information will be public information. So if you go to our website, you will have company A, grade 9, and you put something on the side. It could be A, B, C, D. It could be that you are in grade 9. If you are grade 9A, it means that if we give you work, you will deliver quality, it will be on time, it will meet our expectations. If you are grade 9C, yes, you will deliver, you may exceed budget, there may be defects if you are appointed. We are not saying that don't be appointed, but the client must appoint you knowing that there might be problems when they appoint you. Now, if we look at procurement generally, internationally we say it stimulates economic activity. Also, it protects national industry against foreign competition. It improves the competitiveness of certain industrial sectors, and also it assists us to address certain social ills that we may have. In terms of, if we look at national industry against foreign competition, yes, CIDB is one of the sectors that has Abantu who are not from South Africa who are registered. and they are registered at entry level, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, where you would not expect them to be registered. If you go to countries like Kenya, their CIDB came to South Africa to learn about CIDB. And then they took a decision that for you to be a company that operates in Kenya, there must be a grade 9. Now in South Africa, the problem we have a huge problem of funding. Our South African business people, because they want those projects, they will go and get someone from another country and they will put themselves as 90%, give this person 10% so that they get a skill. As soon as the company maybe grades to grade 6 or grade 7, for some reason it's corrected, the real owner now comes up and then they become a grade 7, they become a grade 8, they become a grade 9. And we complain as contractors to say we are giving work to foreign-owned companies. The problem is that us as contractors in South Africa, we front a lot. Now, government has a challenge of also addressing the secondary procurement policies, which is that one, in those projects that we are given as contractors, we must be able to address issues of BEE, broad-based black empowerment. SMME development, issues of poverty alleviation, HIV/AIDS, skills transfer, all of those we are expected to deliver on them. So as you are appointed as a contractor, you may find out in your documents you are required to deliver on them. Because procurement is the only tool that government has to ensure that there is development, also secondary objectives, which are social issues, are also addressed. Which now in most cases you'll find that we have this challenge of balancing whether do we prioritize secondary objectives or primary objectives? And as a contractor, your priority, it's not the primary objective of delivering goods. It's that one of getting work because you are thinking of poverty, you are thinking of developing your company further. Now, when you have this, that's why you have other sites being stopped because people are wanting to have access to work. Now, as CIDB, what we did then, we developed a paper, you can find it on our website, which talks about balancing delivery and development, where we're saying clients are the driving force for change. In other words, municipalities, departments, state-owned entities are the ones who must be at the forefront of development. But also, we are saying that as contractors, you must also be willing to play your role when you are given that responsibility of development. In terms of the contractor development, when we have contractor development, we look at these objectives. One, we're saying in a case where there is a contractor development, remember this can be private sector, it can be government. Private sector, it's you as contractors. The aim must be to improve contractor grading status. I'll show you why later. Number two, we need to increase the number of black women-owned companies in construction. We also need to have sustainable contracting, and we must improve delivery and performance of contractors. In terms of our mandate as the CIDB, we are mandated to promote the growth of the industry as a whole and the participation of the emerging sector. When we talk industry, we talk clients. We have a responsibility to ensure that clients are conversant with procurement prescripts in terms of national treasury, in terms of CIDB prescripts. But also we have a responsibility towards contractors to ensure that contractors are developed. And we do this by shaping the procurement regime to ensure that everyone is able to use procurement to develop. We started the process in 2000 where we had the first workshop. This program was approved in 2008 by the minister, and up to this far we've had the guidelines which we have put on our website, which you can read them at your own time. But the challenge that we are having is that one. We are saying that we are 27 years after a democracy. As you can see, that's the market share of the black-owned companies. From grade 2 to 4, that's your 4 million. That's where you'll find. I've left out grade 1 intentionally. The reason I'm leaving grade 1 is because in grade 1, politically we are supposed to accept you as contractors. But within the profession, it becomes difficult to accept a grade 1, though it's an entry level. Because the requirements for registration as a grade 1, it's your Ihbc certificate, your tax clearance, certified ID copy, you pay 450 rands to CITB, you become a grade 1 contractor. Now you can see that's why we have teachers, we have nurses, we have caterers, we have everyone as a contractor. We are sitting currently at over 140,000 contractors in South Africa. About 90,000 of them are grade 1. So when you are going to do development, it's not easy to tap onto the grade 1s because you won't be able to easily find the actual contractors, but you'll find everyone who are also trying their chances to be within the sector. If you look at grade 7 to 8, we are still sitting at below 50% transformation. Now, when we give you these stats as the CITB, when we say black owned, we mean it's 50 plus 1. We are not saying that it's 100% owned. So that 48% at 7 and 8, it's those black owned who would be 50 plus 1 owned. In terms of the transformation, I'm not sure that we can read the figures. No, we can't. I'll talk you through them. If one then looks at the transformation report which we did this year, we picked up that there might have been an increase on grade 9 companies, which was from 35 to about 46% black-owned companies. But again, we see that at lower levels, at grade 2 to 4, that's where you will find many of them sitting. The one shaded in red would be the 51% owned, and the one shaded in green, it's 90% black owned. So if you look at grade 9, black owned are just below 40%, who are 100% black owned. The rest is white owned companies. At your own leisure time, you can go to our website, you'll find that document, and you can read further. It will tell you where the challenges are. But then if one looks at the Eastern Cape, you will see that in the Eastern Cape, we are looking at two classes of work, civil engineering works and general building. The reason we are looking at those is because that's where mostly people register. I posted, was it last year or 2 years back, on Facebook, asking for a plumber in English. Till today, I don't have that plumber. I think I got someone from Manfred. It's the skills that we do not have, not only in Musa, but generally across the country. We do not have specialists. We do not have people with electrical engineering who are having wireman's license. We do not have mechanical engineers. We do not have plumbers. We do not, a lot of skills within the built environment are not in South Africa. Everyone who comes to construction, they go the civil engineering and general building. Now you will see that in the Eastern Cape on grade 9, we still do not have a grade 9 in the Eastern Cape as a whole. That would be 100% owned. The only company that is there is 50% owned by a black person. At grade 7 and 8, we have them. That not sure I come back. So, or that not sure and others, those who now about 7 and 8 within the Eastern Cape, but generally Eastern Cape, you won't find. It's even worse with civil engineering. The numbers even go even further down. We do not have civil engineering contractors as much as we would want them. Now, we are saying now, government, the more they invest on infrastructure, it's the only way we can develop the industry. We could create jobs. We started a program at the CITB of exporting contractors, where we take contractors to Mozambique, to There's one contractor, I think it's the name of the company. It's a black hole, that's why I'm wanting to think of the company. Forgotten the name of the company, but they've recently done the Malawi dam. They did Botswana. They are now in Ghana. They are from South Africa. The person bought a company as a grade 4 and grew the company to grade 9, but now they are operating in Africa. And those are the kinds of programs that we are trying to do in saying that as soon as you are sitting at grade 8 and 9, we will assist you working with DTI and we take you to those other countries where you can compete and even have more opportunities. I'll skip this one, but also I would like now you to focus on this one. I think this one is more clear. This is where also you challenge us now when we talk of a transformation. If you look at women-owned companies, it's only 13% at grade 9, 13% at grade 7 and 8, 5 and 6, 30%, 2 to 4, 30%, total sitting at 15%. And if you look at the whole of the register, if you look in terms of what is owned by black South Africans, it's 43%. The challenge with when you try to empower black women, we launched last year EWIC Awards, where we give awards to women-owned companies. Every time a woman is given an award, the husband would stand up and acknowledge and begin to say that this ranking is not only when you are talking black, white, black, South Africans and others, people from other countries, but also within our family structures. There's that fronting where the ayahs mama, for us to get this, we'll put you as the 51%, I will be the 49%. Now, as much as it is good for you to get business, it's not assisting us in transforming the sector. We are looking for purely owned women companies so that we are able to know that we are having impact when it comes to development. So that's why our numbers are sitting so low when it comes to women within the construction sector. Now, this is the other challenge that we have, infrastructure spending. Deputy Minister, I'll look there. You are not spending when it comes to infrastructure. As a result, the lack of spending impacts on the development of the construction. We rely on government spending. If we look at the year 2020, our years of calendar years at CIDB, we are not using the government. Financially, we have to use, but when we do our reports, we use the calendar year. So in the year 2020, first quarter, there was an expenditure of 293 million from local municipalities. In second quarter, it escalated to 1.9. Third quarter 159 and 67 million in the last quarter. From that last quarter, we say we lost an opportunity of at least 1 billion, which could have been used to develop contractors. Now, when we say let's have contractor development, I said earlier, when we talk contractor development, it's about developing contractors. And it is a deliberate, in our definition, we say it's a deliberate and a managed process to achieve targeted development outcomes, which will improve the status of the company in terms of grading, performance and equality, equity and targeted ownership. And the reason we say it's a deliberate and a managed process, it must not be a by-the-way decision that, because there is this pressure, let's quickly appoint 10 contractors, let's quickly appoint 5 contractors, because it will have challenges at the end. And in terms of the developed components, we've classified them into 3 at CIDB as grade 1 and grade 2 learnerships. That's where you have EPWP programs, grade 2 to 6, where we are developing now the actual business entity, that it must have proper financials, it must have proper business systems, there must be technical skills within the company for it to grow. 4 to 7, we are looking at performance improvement. Of course, when we look at grade 7 upwards, people always ask us as to why do you still have APE status at grade 7, grade 8, grade 9. My question would be, is WBHO the same as also construction? They are both sitting at grade 9. They are not the same. They can't compete the same. That's why you still have to classify a block-owned company as a 9P, even at that level. In terms of how it's delivered, we have this National Contractor Development Program, where we encourage incubation of contractors. I will speak later to a similar case that we have in Lusikisiki, which also took or aimed to take the shape of an incubator, where you have work opportunities, you are looking at skills, you are looking at training and mentoring. Also, you are also looking at ensuring that there is a lot of targeting as to who are you going to develop. The second part is the indirect targeting, where we encourage subcontracting. The PFA of 2017, we know that certain organizations have taken it to court. They've won round 1. We're hoping that they will close so that we're able to have those compulsory subcontracting of 30% and so on, because we felt that they were very developmental in their nature. But as it stands, we still have the indirect targeting, where it allows for subcontracting, it allows for, could be JVs and so on. All of those are all strategies which could be used. In other words, your part as the private sector, you can play a huge role on the other side of indirect targeting in terms of ensuring that you subcontract one another, you form JVs, you build one another, and then it becomes part of the indirect targeting. These are some of the strategies that we are promoting: the unbundling, using the PE status, JV, subcontracting, bundling and targeting, and I will just run through them because of time. If you look at the unbundling strategy, it's when you take one big project, cut it into small pieces, and give many contractors to benefit. Now, the disadvantage there is that there's no continuity in terms of work. There's there's high administration. There may be quality and there may be delays, but you are still able to ensure that everyone gets work and there is some skills development. The usage of the PE status, we say for contractors, if at grade 1 you are given an opportunity to work at grade 2, in other words, one level higher than what you qualify for. But again, that depends. It's not something that you demand. There must be feasibility for it to be done before it's done. Using of the JVs, it's where you understand it increases the number of opportunities for SMMEs. But the main problem that we've been experiencing, I would say also it's fronting under a JV, where you have a grade 8 work being advertised, and then there's a contractor does a JV with a grade 1, which now immediately you see that there are problems, because the work is for grade 8 already, but there's a JV of a grade 8 and a grade 1. As soon as the work is awarded, the first 2 months you will see a grade 8. Third month, the grade 8 is no longer there. The grade 1 is continuing with works. In the past, clients would say it's going to cost us to cancel, re-advertise, but when they saw that it was costly, they had then to resort to the law, which is that you just cancel and you re-advertise again. And if what we've started this year was there, then those people would now be blacklisted. The issue of using subcontractors, here the problem that we have is the issue of non-payment of subcontractors by the main contractors. The principle of I'll pay you when I'm paid, as if you are employed by the client, yet you are employed by the contractor. We are trying to speak to main contractors to stop that. When you have a subcontractor, pay them, even if the client has not paid you, because you are the one who is the employer in this case. The bundling and targeting, this is where you take a whole bulk of the project, give it to one contractor, and this contractor will then subcontract. The problem here is that should this main contractor have problems, a lot of projects will be affected. So we don't encourage this form of development. Usage of term contracts, where a project is multi-year, we're saying clients must look at how can they advertise it, not using the final figure of the project, but what they will be spending annually to allow for small contractors to be able to bid. And these are also available on Practice Note 29 on our website. You just go there and read further for yourself. Now, I'm sure we can all agree that it is the priority of government to ensure that we improve our grading status, increase the number of women, and also improve delivery of contractors, of work by contractors. Now, in influencing policy, we have again issued a Practice Note 29. Again, I will not go through it, but if you can find time, you can read through it. I'll just touch briefly. What we are trying to do as CIDB is that clients must insert clauses within the supply chain policy. And when they insert those clauses within the supply chain policy, it becomes easy for them to target contractors for development. Because currently, as the law stands, a treasurer will tell you straight that there are no set-asides. They are not allowed to do set-asides. Of course, you try then, you speak to legal people, you play around with words, you don't say set-aside, you say allocating. It don't still give you problems. But if at least you have a policy that will talk to development, there is some lenience. We've managed with National Department of Public Works to have an arrangement where, if applied properly, it could be allowed. Where if you incubate contractors, it says that you can give them projects of up to 3 million without going out on tender, as long as they are within that incubation and they are trained for development. I will quickly go to this one. A few years back, we started a beautiful relationship with Ihbc. Now, the challenges of development, when you start, you start like a builder. You know how the house is going to look like. But the journey to the house is not always what you want. We targeted 20 SMEs in Ihbc. That brought the Ihbc down in Flagstaff. Yeah, yes. It's part of the Small Town Revitalization Program. It's funded by the Office of Government. We had committed about 2.5 million. So far, we spent around 500,000, and mostly it's towards the soft skills. We're trying to push them to NQF for construction supervision. Remember, here we're taking people, some of them don't have matric, some of them that may have matric, they've done maths literacy. Now, you are putting them in a space that is very uncomfortable for them. So we could not put them for a higher NQF. So we put them at NQF for construction supervision. Currently, because of the budget, if you look at training contractors, to train 20 contractors properly, you need at least no less than 50 million per year. Now, with Ihbc, the actual project, I think it's about 58 million. That is the works. Now, I'm saying to train 20 contractors per year, you need about 50 million without having the project and so on. So, of the 20 that we took, we then took 10 as phase one, because we said we cannot take everyone at one go. Of that phase one that we took, I think there's about 4. My time was there's about 4 There was about 5 next time. But there's 2 that absconded from the 10. We are left with 8. Training is ongoing. The challenge is always on the work packages that are allocated. Remember, here you are dealing with a contractor. Now, when you allocate, it must be such that now he must be able to still make money, but at the same time being able to give something for development. The challenges that we picked up was that, remember, when you do these this skills program, you take a contractor to a classroom for 2 weeks, and then you expect them immediately to go on site and practice what they would have learned. But because of the project, it was not moving smoothly as we had hoped for. So there were challenges now with allocation of work packages for those contractors. Some of them complained about transport from home to site. And we had explained when we were taking that this is not a CETA accredited program. So there are no stipends. You will be expected to pop from your own pocket in terms of the transport, in terms of food, and so on and so on. But we experienced those challenges, some of them complaining, they can't be on site on time. We did at the same time, we did try as CIDB, I think, to get someone to fund catering. I'm not sure how far did it go. But also we had then challenges with the payments delays to the main contractor, which would have led to the SMMEs also having their own problems. Also, the work that was allocated to these learner contractors was not meaningful. Some of it was not even relevant to the classroom training that they were getting. And also, lastly, we think we allowed our emotions in going for such a high number. Because if you look at Gauteng roads and transport, they have a huge budget. They took the contractors that are graduating this year, they took only 36. As Ihbc, we took 20, which is very big. If you look at Ihbc before the current one that failed, the successful program of Ihbc, which had graduates of grade 7 CE contractors, and they took only 20 contractors, and it became successful. So Ihbc, I think, as soon as you are finished with this, if we are to take another one, I would say, I heard Mayor saying that population in Alaba is 330,000. So I think if we allow or accept that we take only 5 contractors to be developed for 3 years, and show that when they exit, at least we have contractors that we can say, as in Musa, we have 5 contractors that we are proud of, rather than trying to appease everyone in the whole of Musa. It's not possible. I will quickly touch on this, the last 3 slides. I think, as to who must register with us. If you are going to do construction work of 30,000 and above, you must be a registered contractor with the CID. JVs are exempted, but the 2 companies that are forming JVs must be registered. If you are under restriction by Treasury, you are not allowed. If you are building homes or RDP contractors, you don't have to register with us. If you are doing labor-only works, also you are exempted. Supply-only, you are exempted. These are the fees for registration. You'll see that it's 400, it's 210, it's 450 for grade 1, grade 9, it's 55,000, and from grade 2 to grade 9, those fees are payable annually. You'll see that these are the requirements in terms of upgrading to the CITV. Those who've been with us for quite some time will pick up that on the second column, which is the upper tender limit range, those values have been increased. In the past, grade 1 was up to 200,000. Now grade 1 can do works of up to 500,000. Grade 2 up to 1 million. But what we've done, we've reduced the requirements for the largest contract so that you are able to upgrade. But again, lastly, when we changed the upper tender value limits, we did not change the available capital and the first annual tender. The reason is we want you to quickly upgrade. That's why we did not change those. And as I've mentioned earlier, we no longer downgrade contractors, but if you do not renew your grade, you are deregistered and your registration will expire. From my side, Ihbc.
Percent. Your presentation was very informative. Kuyabonakala mna into yobana ngenene usemninzi umsebenzi in transforming the industry. Omama babangena bapenetrate kwi-industry babe khona nyani bangafront njengethina ngotata. Also these great higher grade companies for them bazibe khona nakwezindawo zethu, because really we experience this that even when the development of Sunrise magnitude comes, they ask you to where are the local contractors. Sonke sihleli payizansi or grade 1. Nyanselelo ukuthi ukusenza isithi it's difficult to determine if we are really contractors. As painful as that sounds, because most of our people really are there. But it's also true that nam abondiswa khona soka le time angenzizame ngifale kule construction. It that requires certificates of tenderation. That's what we say. So thank you very much for this information. We will have a chance to engage the presentations, but I'm glad that you touched on the issue of economic development, and also you touched on that it must have tangible time frames as measurable and milestones as measurable and all that. You know, you were talking about the issues of shortage of skills in our area. That's quite correct. We have shortage of skills in our area. But also, Mr. Hussein, beyond that, you find that you want an artisan environment license is not there. You get one somewhere, then they produce the papers. They then call the person who doesn't have the environment license, go and do this there. So the reality is that most of our people can do the actual work, but there's still a gap. Then they over certifier and over compliant and all that, which I think as organized business together with government, we need to come together and try and close that gap. Because the reality is that Nyani and Jambusita plumbers, but you will find that there are people who are doing plumbing work, but they are not plumbers in the bigger scale of things. So we really need to work together with government to come to the position yokuba our bantu babe certified. That's something that causes on a family. Ndicela usondele. Ola ndimthandela utata ukusena xa isithi the main contractors siyeka le nto yokuthi sawuqala sibhatala ngoclient ukuze sokubhatala. Hey, batsho abantu babo ngapezantsi. Andiyazi ukuthini kule. Bathi, Deputy Minister, we need so many days after sibhatala to pay you. These people are said to be international companies and grade 9 companies, which are also helping cash flow, but by one companies and by one of our Chandela, Mr. Hussein. Chandela, for the call that the solicitation for any long. 7 hours for the solicitation. We are going to continue. Now, Deputy Minister, what happened is that they are calling super bomb the develop. Oh, not the total. We're just waiting for the caterers to sort out their issues at the back so that after this
I think after this presentation, that Mr. Sonkesh last time, then we are able to go to lunch. But we just need them to. Yes.
But we said Deputy Minister, the new appointed mayor, the chairpersons, the business forum, so the White House Business Forum, Mayor Business Forum, Mr. Chairman, the colleagues, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I think I'm going to be
I don't have the first affair. Shop stress.
I won't have a online. That's all inside.
Oh,
But get in.
Before I start, let me introduce some of my colleagues that have connected virtually from our main office in Port Elizabeth. Mr. Craig McLachlan, no Mr. Makwabe, Tandila Makwabe. I hope they are listening to the presentation. Then when it comes mainly to the question of the answer and question and answer, I'm sure they will come in handy because we're working there as a team. The presentation is going to be targeting mainly this item is by the army. The N2 Wine Coast progress report on the two bridges, the two mega bridges, SMC Gaba, SMT. I will also talk to road packages, package 1 to package 7. Like you know about Lusikisiki, St. John's, all the way to your Town on the other end. It has been divided into packages, SE7, from package 1 to package 7. I'll also talk to that. There's also materials, which I left a brief mention about the materials. And then also the city projects, so-called community development projects, the community legacy projects, and some key challenges. Now I'll start with the question of Ihbc. Now Ihbc, now Ihbc, that project Ihbc, the amount it was tendered for was 1.65 billion. And construction in Calais or January 2019. It is expected the completion date will be early 2024. Probably will see 2021. It means that we still have about 2 years to go before the completion. Now that means from now to the completion date, we still have about 2 years to go. Now, let's come now to the progress. The contract, like I said, is projected to complete at the end of January 2024. But payment certificate number 32, which we received for October, the expenditure is sitting at a little less than 900 million. To be specific, it's 899 million. 378,943 rand and 10 cents, excluding that. Now the CPG, let me talk about CPG, which was, sorry, it's not end July, it should be end of October. The targeted labor is sitting at 35.6 million. And out of that, 30% goes to youth, 30% to women. Over targets say to get, out of that 30% the youth, they see achieve labor power 81%. Now when it comes to women, out of that 30% of women, they've achieved 37.4%. Coming to the question of the labor. The labor that is sitting in Chicago at the moment is 332 people, about 120 from locally. Now, like 332, the other 42 of them are skilled and semi-skilled, and 195 the unskilled. Now, put them in 157 that's employed by the contractor, and 175 by the subcontractor. In other words, we have 332 people, which constitutes 6% of the local people. And then when it comes to core labor, about by the consultant, the contractor, you are 73. So which means that when you compare the two, the local labor, about when you compare them with around others, contractor, we found out it's 34% the core labor. So the core labor is 34%, the local labor is 66%. continuing with the question of the progress. In local suppliers, this is cash by citing the 26. The local service providers, 56. And then the local subcontractors, the 26. Now, Lusikisiki amount of 220 million was the PPC. We've got 200 million with the budget for maintenance of local and provincial roads, plus 20 million, which is what that's set aside for phase 1 and 2. So in total, it makes a total of 220 million. Now, out of that 220 million, we've appointed 2 contractors, one on the south end, south bank, and then the other one on the north bank. Mr. Nzwaboke is to do what we call the roadway preparation. See, 7 to be legal section now. In other words, those 2 contractors, so Mr. Nzwaboke, exactly what they are outside now to speak. Now there are 2 further contractors. Again, they are split between the south bank and the north bank. One contractor, out of those 2, they're doing crushing of the gravel material. One of them being at the south, they've done about 75% of the work that they're supposed to do. Now the unfortunate thing about it is the one on the northern side, unfortunately, is still very low in terms of the construction site. Given that this young it's not going to, unfortunately, it's not only going to focus on in the north side. I'm taking the whole of N2 all the way from Port St. John's to back. You know, to Port St. John's. I'm talking the whole of N2 all the way from Port St. John's to Port Road. Now, when the contractors, when the tenders, the Sun Cooper, they push clearly as a Port St. John's. Out of those, every 5 also go grade 3. And then every 10 plus 15 go grades 1 and 2. The value like is an educator, but as that a point, because there's a few things that necessary in the past about you don't hear environmental issues. There are certain environmental issues that need to be sorted out before they can start working. The cumulative land was it's a virgin soil, in other words, it's a hattie. So they are all of their alien vegetations, they are what they call the protected species. So the environmental people become very handy when it comes to that. And that's one of the things that's causing the delay for Baba and other council servants. Otherwise, they are ready to be awarded any time from now. Now, in the bills of our 161, law also about the complaining about the potholes and that kind of thing. We've got a plan for it. We've got 5 contractors. But five contractors that are doing work on the R61. Out of the 5, every 3 goes of grade 6, every 2 of grade 5. Now that tender closed on the 17th of November, and it closed on the 17th of November, and we're expecting the award on Friday. I'm trying to do it during the first day. Yeah. We're expecting the actual award on Friday. Sorry, Friday, not this Friday, Friday next week. Yeah. Now, on the 23rd of September, we had the honor to be visited by the President. So the next 4 slides, these are the slides, the photos that were taken when the President was there. I'm not going to take much time on that one. As long as these are some of the pictures that were taken while the President was there. Every couple million back again, Ihbc at the President. When I was here, our total actually. I'm trying to the President, you're not here. But then the way you put it, today, I'm a very heavy President. In other words, after seeing the amount of work that is being done on site, the enthusiasm of the people the workers are very busy with their work. And also the quality of the work that these people are able to produce. They made the president a very happy one. Now, so far about Lusikisiki. Today Lusikisiki, let me take. Now, if you listen to let you know, because I tell you the original bridge, the original tender for the Untitled Bridge, it was terminated in February 2019. And then the new tender to replace that one was advertised on the 8th of August 2020. The tender closed on the 5th of March last year. The award we estimate might be about 3.5 billion. And then the award was anticipated, not in early December, sorry. I made a mistake there. The anticipated award date is going to be early January next year. The mobilization period was going to be 4 months. In that 4 months, what they'll be doing is they'll be drawing up the CPG plan. They will start issuing the RFQ. And also they'll be appointing these SMMEs, and also not only appointing SMMEs, but training them as well. And also dealing with the health and safety issues. It is packages that M2. The package 9 my baby is the projects. It is about 3 of them. So as the team, you see the project, the bridge. Now we answer this one, the bridge, the bridge. Even if you see the project is that. There's one that says Camela Community Development Project. You're M. Camela, yeah, AKTC. Into the power is in Bangla High School. The back on anybody in Jama Community Development. You're like everybody in high school, young, Umma, Jama Primary. And then lastly, back on Miami College, which starts from Miami, usually again. Now, don't jump upon MLP. I'm not sure if it's Yabonagarana. That one is the Jama, is Baledi Jama project. Then put a back called Lay some camera. This one here, some camera. And then back called Lay is in Miami College. It might not be able to see from the distance. Now that's the photo that was taken about Untitled. I'm not going to dwell on the issue of the petition, because this is the petition that resulted from the stoppage that's Untitled. We actually ran if I could go through that. For the sake of time, I'll go straight to the packages. Now, package 4 and 5, Smashule from the rest of the packages, the other 5 packages. The reason being that packages 4 and 5, they are at a more advanced level than the package 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. Zona 8, they are able to be awarded any time from now. But the latest will be early next year, China next year. Heavens don't be in the trouble. But as the easy, the amount of song is on semi-preliminary design stage. Now, you get me to Lusikisiki, which is package 4. Now, I know the German situation is bound to be, it's almost imminent, the appointment corner. Remember period, or what you call the mobilization period, is about 3 months. And then you is expected, the construction period is going to take 4 years. And Quebec actually award is anticipated to take place in the end of January next year. Package 5 in Chicago to take. Now, I say some projects in this year, like the rehabilitation of the Mosaic Memorial Road. The number of much is a tell you morning to the origin here from my students. Is that the land newly equal on the other side of the Holy Cross? some projects are now grade HE, which will be mainly the actual surfacing of that road, which are Holy Cross and which are kind of so you're like advertising it in October, and we are expecting to back. Yeah, that one was advertised on the 28th of October, and the closing date was the 10th of November, and then we're expecting to back. The 10th of November was the briefing, and then the 10th of December is going to be the closing date. Now, package 5, we speak about changing. The progress I call a fan and I got package 4. Because now, it will be awarded after 8th January next year. At the moment, they're still busy with what they call the quality control issues, and the ramping up period, or what they call the mobilization period, is 3 months. The one that's about 6 months longer. It will take 6 months longer than the package 4, because it will take 4.5 years for a commissioner. Now, listed below here, these are the possible projects as our meter or the SMMEs. So on the is the clearing and grabbing, removal of trees, provision of traffic controls, and all of it. Construction of concrete paving, curbs, and so on and so on. The least level of area contractors, the SMMEs, is actually coming out of that one. Like we say there. Now let's come to the upcoming tenders. Now, we shall need 8 CE tenders. Basically, what is going to be involved is the rehabilitation of the Musa Hill Memorial Road leading up to the monument package. The tender date was Friday, the 29th of October 2021. The briefing was Wednesday, 10th of November. The closing date is going to be the 10th of December. In other words, the closing date is going to be Friday next week. The package 4, attached to package 4, is the Clafgarson Village Road. Here now I'll need 7 CE, which is basically the upgrading of roads within the Clafgarson Village to Lambas. What I mean by upgrading is the upgrading from gravel to surface to tar road. Now the tender was advertised on Friday 12th of November. The briefing clarification, the briefing was on the Tuesday, 23rd of November. Now the tender will close on Friday next week at the end. Now the tender is awarded. It will be awarded. It's expected awarded. The expected award date will be of unfortunately. But yes, when I see you up again, we lay it here on a lap project as a number here. So there is a here. Blue one and the red one. Then upper, there's the other one on the package 4 in South Village. And then upper, UTR 8004. Outcome R61, which was supporting Johnson. Waving the package 7 way. We plant a pipe concrete on the left, and then go up and join Lata in the Ebanson Hospital. When I put Lata is up at 61, that was becomes Indian upper on your right, Kubeka Yuchi Ebanson Hospital. So this road later and I is 8004. It starts from the concrete, it goes all the way around until it joins that town at that point. Now the idea is to make that ring road from R61, it will be back to R61. Therefore, that's why we call it ring roads. If never it is surface, you don't get money. Because that road is going to be used as a bypass when they are working on this section of R61. Now let's come to the remaining road packages. Remember, I spoke to the package 4 and 5. Now I want to ask the question, what about package 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7? As you can see here, this purple one is package 1, then green one is package 2, red one is package 3, package 4, package 5, package 6, and package 7. Now package 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. As the ones are only connected because they are all at preliminary stages, but various stages of the preliminary design. Now what's going to happen briefly? What's going to happen for package 1? It's going to be a single carriageway road. Single carriageway at 20 kilometers per hour, high speed at 120 kilometers per hour. There's going to be a lot of free climbing lanes as I said on the line. But you are going to be a single carriageway. After package 2, in the African by the sun, that portion is going to run parallel. Briefly, it's going to run parallel to R61. And the R61 clearly is going to be used as access, the local access road. So it goes from 2 lane of upper to side speed. In the 120 times 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. And it's going to have 4 lanes. 2 lanes going south and then 2 lanes going south or going north. Package 3, when the sun is turned off to Lingen. The first 6 kilometers, which are par, to the turn off the sun, and then the first 6 kilometers, which are going to change the part of the engine garage. That one is going to be 4. It's going to be double carriageway. Now it's going to have 4 lanes. But as the upper line has changed, the repair line the same engine garage. It changed lines of instead of having 4 lanes, it's now going to have 2 lanes. 1 lane going up and the other one going down. Now package 7, so package 6. No, I skip. Package 3. Now package 6. In this device there, package 6 and package 7 is e-access agreement. So what is on access agreement is with a package 2. There are 12 months in the silver and new. At package 6, we got the access agreement on the 30th of November. And after package 7, we got it with 10th of September 2021. Materials. Package 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. Upfront materials tender for 40% of the quantities required. Now, 2 technical drilling tenders for package 6 and 7 and packages 1, 2, 3. Both tenders in application, but the award is delayed by the requirements for due diligence investigations. So that now about to be awarded. Now comes the question of the community development projects. Now there's a number of them. For example, there's one that saw that Sudan, Calendar of second, not sure, the Kamali official. Dog second, Paisuka Penkan, Toyota Airport, then it goes down UHL, Ecosa Forest Clinic. Apart from the consultant says are going to work, and then they're busy with the design. Then there's other one that's Sudan. The line boat is called the boat access road. You and I is up on the pedestrian facilities on the side. And then the other one is in Afufu and supporting Johnson. So it's all of them, Jabba proposed balance. They've already, the consultants are busy with the design. So we expect it was out to Sevenza, it can be higher than about the middle of next year. Now there's the announcement. Now it's late so it was a forest. Then the other one is Kapar, then this one is definitely, now this one again is it's one of the city projects, tied up with next to constituents. Now Peter Becker, that road which goes to Sukapai to open design, goes to Chopai and Congo. It's one of the roads that we shall be doing under these city projects in honor of relate with Martin Zeramandia. Now let's talk about the community legacy projects. Now the community legacy projects, you know, etu sanga, other sevens in that way, never by shy for the community. For example, as Paco is singing us when we're going to contract, next consultants, give us higher contract. I just try to throw them in us. We won't leave it behind so that they can be used either as the community halls or in terms of projects in terms of the tourism. They can change that into whatever. You have to find a community education is up to you. And apart from that, Snedo 80 was now a service abuser. Snip pilot with pilots, including the permits for 80. Abantu babizenda wonye abantu bosebasa basekuhlaleni umuze ukubona wena ayikwazi nayo mhlawumbe kanye kusamantshontsho ukhanda bangaphinda abantu abakusamantshontsho aphelana mhlawumbe ufumanise kule onke umuze njani uyathunga bangabantu abathungana apha ukwenzela ukuba if mhlawumbe so happens abantu amantshontsho it's only 2 families kanti abantu bomthungo by 15 then it means that the focus must be to bafundiswe indlela zokuthunga. Not only bafundiswe but at the same time babona ukuthi bancediswe into getting necessary funding, how to get funding, that kind of thing. Akhuliswe ngibona hlobo abanye bajayi ukufama mna engazi lapho uyothola bangathi ndawo nabafamisha if it's a precise number of people as of how to get the funding will be thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soltation. Well done. The presentation at that is showing the work that is happening on the ground, the packages, different packages. The channel have also mentioned ungenile nakwa nabochipa one was a catering shed. That is important because we congested there. So it's important that we start going up. So you learn higher. Colleagues and leaders, I think now we should adjourn for a lunch whilst we finish up our bar. We've been here since the morning. Energy levels are obviously down. We will take about 45 minutes of lunch. We'll take about 45 minutes of lunch. We'll take about 45 minutes of lunch.